So it's a good topic based on the study of psychology. How do you look at impacts? How do you look at trauma? What is hurt? What is hit? And all of that. The question is, how do we deal with losses? How do we deal with breakups? How do we deal with deaths? How do we deal with those parts of our life which burns and is taken away from us? That's the lookout. Okay, the breakups that happens are very painful. We might have coped through that, but they're very painful. When I speak of it being painful, what I'm trying to say is it takes away something from us. That means now we live two realities. We live a current reality where we are successful and we are living our life with new rules and new terms. But when we look back, we have a memory of that person who we used to be, which is no more today. I recognize that these dissociative systems, these splits, what the split does is it keeps the wounded, it keeps the orphaned child. The reason I use orphan is because nobody came to rescue me at that time when the breakup was there. Nobody came to protect me when the acid was thrown. Nobody came to question me, because it's a sense of betrayal that why was that loss happened to me? Why was my parent taken away from me? Why was I bullied in school? What is my fault? That's the questioning that keeps coming up. And that wounded part is kept preserved as a child. But with that child, there's a whole penumbra that is created of all the behaviors that the child used to have, of all the thoughts that the child used to have, of all the things that the lover used to have before the breakup. And when the breakup happened, when the loss happened, when the abuse happened, the psychic system decided that I will not make myself available to another person with this. But I continue to miss that. So I keep visiting that and I keep suppressing it. I keep going there. Now, in psychology, we say, well, these parts needs to be preserved and these parts needs to be brought ahead. So the dissociative system splits off, it separates off the wounded and the orphaned child, which is my younger version, which is that memory of my younger self, into the psyche, and it's clinging to this child of this whole penumbra, like a shadow around it, which reminds me constantly of those days, of those behaviors, of those things, that this must be preserved. Well, it's not lost, it is dissociated and it is kept. So then that brings me to ask you which context, which aspects, and which relations you have the conflict. And that's where the veils are installed. Imagine yourself and try criticizing yourself. Through whose eyes do you criticize yourself? That's who you are. You are that reflection of those eyes. And what they've told you, you've kept that as your reality. That's your mask, that's your facade. If that's who you are, then how old are you? Well, I'm not looking at your chronological age, I'm looking at your psychological age. See, that's also the split. Remember, the session runs in two parts, okay? So I'm only doing the veils today. We'll do the numbness the next time. So if you see yourself through their eyes, who are you? How old are you? What is your psychological age? So when difficulties come, do you miss them? And because they are not there, do you find people like them to criticize you again, to mock you again, to hurt you again? Because it's natural inertia.